Paintings are full of unsolved mysteries. To understand the mystery of each picture, you have to get acquainted with the life and thoughts of its creator. Let these paintings come to life. Watch our new TV program at the gallery.
Generally speaking, it's a mystery. It's a big mystery when the artist starts creating something, but no one makes him to. You do something not on order, because something is just pushing you inside. As the word is, the spirit hovers wherever it wishes to.
How to depict a city? One may paint houses, roofs, streets, but you also may convey the very feeling of megapolis, imprinting not so much external as internal. This is how the painting Urbanistic Mood by the famous Kazakhstani artist Alexander Robokin might be interpreted. Today we shall get acquainted with his painting. Historical reference: Urbanistic Mood painting. Author Alexander Robokin, Almaty, 1998. Oil on canvas.
Painting here is very delicate and multi-layered. Delicate like music, expressing complicated musical moods. And this painting of his express such complicated musical moods which help us to get in touch with it. Of course, if we open our soul when we stand and watching at this painting, not just to come up to it and read the sign, but to stand and watch it for a while, open your heart, and then you will touch this miracle of beauty, which is present in any work of art.
Alexander Robokin loves color very much. He boldly works with the whole color grade and thinks that the harmony of colors, relations of deep colors and tender combinations, the whole palette in his works should arouse some sensuous images. Colors for him are the basis for the emotional view of life.
This is all emotional on a subconscious level, because I don't want to do something directly. Painting directly is painting landscape, but at the same time it should express mood. And you can only express mood with your skill. It would be easier if I painted from life. For example, Jordanov was painting from life. He went to mountains and was painting in rain and snow and painted it emotionally. I just paint what I observed and absorbed. When I travel a lot, when I work on films, I just absorb it all, and then this all comes to the fore.
Biographical reference: Alexander Robokin, born in Almaty in 1947, graduate of Art and Graphic Department of Abay Kazakh Pedagogic Institute, member of the Union of Artists of Kazakhstan, art director for over 30 feature films of Kazakh Film Studio, including Silver Horn of Alatau, Cheetah Returns, Farah, Present for Stalin, Killin, and Bottlenose Dolphins Jump. Alexander Robokin was honored with the State Award for Ultra Destruction Film, and his work in Jad film was particularly distinguished by the Association of Film Critics of Kazakhstan. Robokin was acknowledged as the Best Art Director of 2016. Alexander Robokin is an extraordinary artist. Many people know him for his work in films. Art experts also acknowledge the highest level of Robokin's graphic works. He is a talented painter, and in each art form, the master strives for finding his own unique means of expression. In painting, it's balancing on a thin edge, separating the world of objects and the abstract world. In youth, Robokin deserved approval from experienced masters and tutors due to his devotion to art. One of his teachers was the famous painter, graphic artist, and a writer Pavel Zaltzman. He came to Almaty in the wartime years together with Lenfilm Film Studio, and then stayed here to work as a senior artist of Kazakh Film Studio. Zaltzman spared much time for his student, and due to him Robokin started working for the film studio.
Of course, masters influenced on me. First of all, it was Pavel Zaltzman, because it was even not his art, but his personality to influence. He had a very strong personality, and of course his art was very attracting. But then when I was carried away by his art, I realized that I may follow him for a long time, but never catch up with him. That's why at some moment, I wanted independence. And probably that's the reason why I quitted working in graphical art.
Robokin's graphical sheets are done in ink and Filonov's technique of numerous action units. There is nothing unimportant or insignificant in them. Architecture, characters, space, everything is interrelated. Grandfather, goalkeeper, Zaltzman's portrait. Art experts admit strong compositional solution in these works. The space is densely populated with objects, but this density doesn't impede for the opening of the image. Robokin's art was strongly influenced by Vladimir Stelegov and cap and dome system in painting he created, where correlation of curves creates spherical module of the universe. Painting is perception of the universe in color, Stelegov said. Robokin has been recalling his communication with Stelegov students and learned much from arguing and simply talking with them, and remembered that for his whole life. What Stelegov's school gave to the artist? It gives an opportunity to separate color from object and make it color of feeling. When the color becomes poetic, musical means of expressing emotions and one's attitude to the world. Historical reference: Vladimir Stelegov, born in 1905, died in 1973, Russian painter and graphic artist. Kazimir Malevich student. In wartime years, he was wounded and evacuated to Almaty. Here, he was teaching, organizing exhibitions, and creating. Among Stelegov's works of that period, Reminiscence of Suprematism series may be noted.
Alexander learned from Zubkov, and Zubkov learned from Stelegov, and Stelegov is the direct follower of the Russian avant-gardism of Malevich. Filonov, Kandinsky. Robokin learned from Zaltzman and Zaltzman from Filonov. Can you imagine how interesting it is that there is a direct continuation of the Russian avant-gardism in Almaty? And what does this continuation mean? It is not dependence, it is continuation. I mean, he wants to sing his song in art in his own way, own understanding of beauty, own understanding of sublimity.
Urbanistic landscapes attract attention of many artists. They are searching for the new forms and the new means of depicting common urban views. Looking at Alexander Robokin's painting, you want to guess what the author meant by these splashes of colors. For the viewer, it gets just an intriguing part of the general panorama. Urban is translated from Latin as cityfied. It is the process of increasing the role of cities in the development of society. This theme has been close to the artist since the ancient times. City landscapes are diverse in plot lines and in technique of its execution. Russian painter Fyodor Alexeyev imprinted Moscow and Petersburg of the early 19th century. His canvases helped preserving memory about historical appearance of these cities. Urbanistic landscapes are one of the favorite themes of the Dutch artists. In the 17th century, Gerrit Berkheide painted Amsterdam with realistic preciseness. And this is the modern artist, Stephen Wiltshire, the owner of the art gallery in London. Due to his amazing ability to reproduce once seen urban landscapes from memory, he is now known all around the world.
It is abstract in fact, and here's the moon, half of the moon. But it is abstract. It seems as if abstract painting might be painted as you wish, but to paint abstract painting, you should know much.
Abstractionism is an art movement in painting and sculpture. the followers of which decline from painting shapes close to reality.
Pure abstraction is more complicated. Certain rules of harmony, painting rules of beauty should be observed. And even though his shapes are like music, they are very structured. Those shapes by themselves shapes interaction and colors.
Abstraction in painting are the paintings which show not subjects, but the artist's mood. Combination of shapes and colors, in idea of the painter, should arouse certain thoughts and emotions in viewers.
Such painting is not always clear to the viewers because most often viewers would like to see similarity. They want apple to look like apple and a kitten look like a kitten.
One of abstractionism's purposes is to arouse the feeling of fullness and completeness of the composition by means of picturing certain color combinations and geometric shapes.
But here the emotion from kitten, emotion from apple might be shown. The feeling from the city where there are many roofs, not painting house, roof, walls, but creating color dimensions, which by its rhythm, by its various shades, would create the feeling of throbbing air above roofs.
Vasily Kandinsky, who was created in the first half of the 20th century, is considered to be the founder of abstract painting. His contemporary Kazimir Malevich also worked in this genre and is probably even more famous than Kandinsky. His famous painting Black Square is a classic of abstraction. In his paintings, Alexander Robokin is trying to convey the idea that the world around us is much deeper and wider than we can imagine, and life is something more than just existence.
He somehow can hear this music and put it into these delicate and shining colors, and they seem to exist, but at the same time they are kind of translucent and glimmering. He somehow can create this music, and among these delicate, translucent and sometimes sounding nuances, he prefers black. And although I don't like black really much, he says black is like drums in music, in order to activate it all. For instance, Gold of Mountains is a pure melody in half tones, on tiptoes, for tenderness is quiet, just like walking on tiptoes.
Due to particular musicality of acrylic grade Real World and Golden Mountains, this painting seems to be abstract, seems to be away from everyday life. The work radiates delight, but at the same time, constructiveness is peculiar to it. Extensions and objects interpenetrate, flowing into each other, making a single whole.
The artist can be inspired by various real-life situations, or can be inspired by real nature, wishing not to leave beyond the edge of color. And then landscapes looking like those we see in reality, but at the same time showing to us as if being shot, might appear on canvas.
Robokin's paintings are complicated, but at the same time, it is diverse. It can be both abstract and realistic, and that each painting has its own story.
When a painting has its emotional sketch, a color, a composition on canvas, and then doubts and alterations begin. I don't like this or that, but the layer of paint is applied, and I have to remove it and apply again. Sometimes composition changes completely, and then this work is taken away for a while, and the work on the new one, but with the same mood, begins. And then I return to this work, turn it upside down, and start doing something again. And it's quite strange work, seen for no one, but at the end it gives some depth and richness of color.
This landscape is thoroughly modified by subconsciousness and artist fantasy. But such paintings may evoke déjà vu effect. It seems that you have once seen such landscape. This is what constitutes the paradox and the secret of attraction of this painting.
When you look close at the painting, it looks very beautiful. There are such delicate transitions. He works on his paintings for a long time. On the one hand, because he paints and paints one painting and then suddenly disappears. And it turns out that he got tired of it and he painted something upon it. And you get filled with despair. Has he got another canvas?
These color replicas relieve artists and viewers from the necessity to recognize. You just should follow color music. The artist's paintings reflect the world in its harmonic entirety. It is the world in which the balance of spiritual and material is kept. Even in chaos of the big city, Alexander Robokin tries to preserve harmony, and his urbanistic mood is a painting partly about the artist himself.
I don't come to the canvas, I just draw some sketches. I am waiting for some mood, and often the mood doesn't come because now it is the time when many things may distract, and I have to go away somewhere and close up.
One way or another, negative emotions affect anyone, and before starting his work, the artist should get free from bad thoughts and dark energy surrounding him. According to Robokin, only then creator can come up to paints and canvas.
The mood is chaos and harmony. Being in the city, in this chaotic atmosphere, and feeling and preserving this mood and stature of spirit should be kept in the work of art. And this spiritual stature is kept in this painting.
To come to canvas, one should feel harmony inside. Theoretically it is good, but in practice it doesn't come because...
Not sinking in everyday life is quite difficult for the artist, for he has to do just the same as common people do.
There are often some conflicts. Something may distract or annoy, but I still have to work. In spite of everyday problems and all the little things, I still have to work, because if I don't work, it would negatively affect me, because I plunge into work and it saves me.
Once he was even turning on music by Bach, Mozart, Vivaldi, when he was painting. Music inspired him and helped creating this mood, and the mood of such exalted vibrations which are expressed in his painting.
Art experts say of his paintings, in his paintings objects are released from solid density and restrained and become almost transparent bearer of light. This master makes the world lighter.
I don't know what do I work for, because I know that nothing of these would be sold. They are hanging here, and then I will remove them and put to a corner of 2 to 2 meters for 2 floors. I will pile them up, and they will be stored there until I die. And what happens then, I don't know. Sometimes I want to burn them all. Nobody needs them.
Devotion to art makes the artist moving on, this craving for taking brushes again and again in spite of circumstances. People say beauty is in the eyes of the viewer. One, looking into a puddle, sees dirt, and others see stars reflected in the puddle. Alexander Robokin sees stars. That's why his canvases help us looking at the world in another way, and they fill the soul with harmony. It means that master creates not vainly.